Wait a second. Something's off. What the... Oh my god! How did this happen? There's gotta be something special I can do for this. But what the hell do I do? A game? No. That's the majority of my channel already. A Pokemon video? Maybe not. They haven't been doing so hot lately. Come on. There's gotta be something! Wait. There's one topic I haven't done in a while. It's crazy, and people may get the wrong idea, but it just might work. Thank you guys for 200 subscribers! The Allies of Justice. In the world of the Dual Terminal, 4 tribes fought a war to expand their powers. This war waged on for years and years to come, with neither side gaining an advantage over the other. However, the fighting would soon stop, but not in the way they expected. One day, a meteorite crashed into the planet, bringing with it a greater threat. These alien life forms, simply called worms, formed from organic matter clinging onto the meteor and evolved to fit their surroundings. Each tribe combated the threat in their special ways, but this would backfire, as it caused the worms to evolve into stronger creatures. Realizing that this threat was greater than any one tribe could handle, the forces of the Flamvel, the Ice Barriers, the X-Sabers, and the Mist Valley combined forces to form the Allies of Justice. Eventually, they developed war machines specifically to combat the worms. The first prototype proved a major success, and soon more machines were developed and deployed. But this alliance was never meant to last. However, putting their desires and personal beliefs aside, the Allies eventually won by defeating the living planet, Worm Zero. Unfortunately, there was still a lot of evil in the world, and plenty more tribes were still in danger. But that is a tale for another day. The first story of the Dual Terminal is pretty long, and what I just touched on was only part of the bigger story. Maybe one day I'll dedicate a whole video to the story itself, who knows. Anyways, the Ally of Justice archetype itself consists of dark machine monsters who are meant to counter light monsters. But jumping the gun here, they struggle to do it. So how's about we take a look at them, see what their purpose was, and see what modifications we can make to these old war machines. But before we get into the archetype proper, we need to address 4 elephants in the room, starting with Ally Mind. It's a level 5 machine tuner with 1800 attack, 1400 defense, and whose card lore reads: a high-performance unit developed to enhance the artificial intelligence program in Ally of Justice. Loaded with elements collected from a meteor from the Worm Nebula, it allows for high tuning performance, but its true capacity is not yet discovered. And to this day, it is still not discovered. Ally of Justice Clausolus. It's a level 6 machine with 2300 attack, 1200 defense, and whose card lore reads: a mighty monster in the Mist Valley, an ultimate weapon designed from Coleum Soleus. Its surprise attacks from above baffle invaders. Ally Salvo. It's a level 2 machine with 400 attack, 300 defense, whose effect reads: when this card is destroyed by a battle with a light monster and sent to the graveyard, select 2 monsters on the field and destroy them. Flamvel Magician. It's a level 4 fire attributed spellcaster tuner monster with an effect. Gains 400 attack while you control an Ally of Justice monster. Yeah, just because it has that effect, it means that it's technically ally support, and frankly, it would be better if it was in its own archetype. Moving on. Just pointing this out right now, Ally Salvo is the best out of these 4 cards. Flammable Magician only fits in here because of its effect and lore, and other than that, it doesn't mesh well with anything about the deck at all. While the allies can't search any of themselves in general, Ally Mind and Classolus don't provide much due to them being normal monsters with too high levels to summon, and the archetype not being focused around them like Janet's controller or elemental hero Neos. Salvo is only loosely associated with the archetype and is too slow these days, but its effect was really good for its time due to it being a man-eater bug when destroyed. If one of your best cards isn't directly related to your archetype, that says quite a lot about you guys. But onto the actual machines of war. Let's go from weak to strong, starting with Ally of Justice Unlimiter. It's a level 2 with 600 attack, 200 defense, and this effect. You contribute this card, then target one Ally of Justice monster you control. That target's attack becomes doubled its original attack until the end of this turn. Yeah, I'll just use limiter removal if I want to power up my machines for a turn, thank you. Yeah, don't bother with this one. Ally of Justice Cycle Reader. It's a level 3 tuner with 1000 attack and defense, and this effect. Side note, this effect has been updated to a quick effect. You can discard this card from your hand to the graveyard to select up to 2 light monsters in your opponent's graveyard and remove them from play. It was a good tech option as proven when Blue Eyes was conquering the game back in 2015, but there's not a lot of use outside of that. Still, disrupting the graveyard is pretty admirable, but the effect is worthless outside of a light deck. Ally of Justice Core Destroyer. It's another level 3, this time with 1200 attack, 200 defense, and this effect. At the start of the damage step, if this monster battles a light monster, destroy that monster without applying damage calculation. It's pretty much the same as Cycle Reader, but it works by battle, but it also has the same flaw, being worthless outside of light decks. It could be a lot worse, but it doesn't have any favors going for it either. Ally of Justice Searcher. Yet another level 3, this time with 1400 attack, 100 defense, and this effect. Once per turn, you can discard one card in your hand, then target one face-down monster your opponent controls. Change that target to face-up attack position. Flip effect monsters' effects are not activated. An insanely specific effect if you're not going against a flip deck, and a heavy cost to pay since none of their monsters have any graveyard benefits. Synergy is also squandered as it's called Searcher, yet it doesn't search anything. Just let that sink in for a bit, okay? Do you hear that? That's the sound of Konami not caring. Ally of Justice Unknown Crusher. Another level 3 with 1200 attack, 800 defense. Wait, where have I seen this before? And this effect. When this card battles a light monster, remove that monster from play after damage calculation. After being the key word here. If it wasn't for the after damage calc clause, it would have been a vast improvement over Core Destroyer. But as it stands right now, it's a questionable addition to your mech army. Also, is this Mammoth Graveyard? It is. It totally is! Same stats, same level, but Crusher is a dark machine instead of an earth dinosaur. What the fuck? Ally of Justice Cyclone Creator. It's our last level 3 tuner, this time with a respectful 1400 attack, 1200 defense, and this effect. Once per turn, you can discard one card from your hand to return spell and trap cards from the field to the hand equal to the number of tuner monsters on the field. It's not a bad effect, but when thrown into its own archetype, yeah, not so much. Bouncing isn't exactly great removal, and as I said with Searcher, discarding is not what the allies can afford to be doing. Still, it's a tuner, so there are some positives here. Just not a lot. Ally of Justice Quarantine. The first level 4, it has 1700 attack, 1200 defense, and this effect. Neither player can special summon light monsters. When you look at this card, you'd likely say, that's pretty format dependent. Well, when Blue Eyes was making the rounds back in the OCG, this card was being side-decked. As it stands, it's a decent archetypal vanities, but because of its effect, DNA Transplant isn't going to be much help here. Ally of Justice Guardhog. It's a level 4 with 1600 attack, 400 defense, and its effect is, when this card battles a light monster, it gains 200 attack during the damage step only. You know the meme, so I don't even need to explain why you don't run this. Ally of Justice Thousand Arms. Another level 4, it has 1700 attack, no defense, and this effect. This card can attack all face-up light monsters your opponent controls once each. If this card battles a non-light attributed monster, destroy this card before damage calculation. Ever heard of the phrase, don't bring a knife to a gunfight? Simply put, don't run Thousand Arms. Ally of Justice Nullifier. Yet another level 4 with 1600 attack, 1200 defense, and its effect is, if this card battles a light monster, after damage calculation, negate the effects of that monster, including in the graveyard. Slow, situational, very limited. But it does have some practical uses for its negation effect and has fair stats for its level. A little below average, but better than most of the other cards thus far. Ally of Justice Reverse Break. It's our final level 4, has 1200 attack and defense, and has this effect. If a light monster is on the field, destroy this card.
Hey, what the fuck?
At the start of the damage step, if this card attacks a face-down defense position monster, destroy that face-down monster. So, the second effect, while still having limited uses, it's still pretty decent. But the first part is where I'm scratching my head because from the lore and other effects so far, I was led to think these things were meant to eradicate all that's light, not be hypocritical politicians. Ally of Justice Omni-Weapon. It's one of 2 level 5s, has 2200 attack, 800 defense, and this effect. If this card destroys a light monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, draw 1 card. Then, if you drew a level 4 or lower dark monster, you can reveal that card and special summon it. Good synergy, can run over smaller monsters, let you get a +1, and can build up field presence. May I not say anything wrong here? Oh wait, it's level. Yeah, if you played Allies of Justice before, then Tribute Fodder is not one of their strong suits. Ally of Justice Rudra. The second level 5, this time with 1900 attack, 1200 defense, and this effect. If this card battles a light monster, it gains 700 attack during the damage step only. You know, if this was a level lower, I'd say it's a good beater. But as it is now, it's about as worthy as Guardhog due to the tribute requirement. Ally of Justice Enemy Catcher. It's our only level 6, it has 1800 attack and defense, and this effect. When this card is normal summoned, you can target 1 face-down monster your opponent controls. Take control of that target until the end phase. A level 6 with stats that were okay if it was 2 levels weaker. In effect, that's the way it is due to lore reasons, and the benefits for you are undone when your turn ends. What is this, playing with OCG Volume 1 from 1999? I'm a squid! Ally of Justice Cosmic Gateway. It's a level 8 with 2400 attack, 1200 defense, and its effect is, if your opponent controls 2 or more monsters, including a light monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. If the attack stat was a little higher, then maybe I'd say run it, because it's the only one to have a special summon condition. But as it is, the attack won't do much. And does the art speak more spell card than monster, or is it just me? Ally of Justice Thunder Armor. Our final level 8 and final main deck monster. It's got 2700 attack, 2200 defense, and this effect. Cannot be special summoned. If your Ally of Justice monster attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. As it stands, the only thing it's got going for it is its 2700 body. You can't easily get this thing out because the allies aren't exactly known for swarming or tribute fodder as mentioned earlier, but if it had Cosmic Gateway's summoning condition, then maybe I'd be singing a different tune here. Ally of Justice Catastor. It's a level 5 synchro monster, requires any tuner with any 1 or more non-tuner monsters, has 2200 attack, 1200 defense, and its effect is, at the start of the damage step, if this card battles a non-dark monster, destroy that target. No strings on me, this is a good card. Being able to destroy anything that isn't a dark monster, while being a generic synchro monster, made this thing a staple for synchro-focused decks for the longest time. You'd also be forgiven for thinking it wasn't a part of an archetype due to it overshadowing the rest. Ally of Justice Light Gazer. It's a level 8 synchro monster requiring any tuner and 1 or more non-tuner monsters, has 2400 attack, 1600 defense, and this effect. This card gains 200 attack for each light monster in your opponent's graveyard. Hey, the magic number again. Can it be a relatively large beater? Potentially, but that's as far as it goes. On something like, I don't know, Stardust Dragon? Ally of Justice Field Marshal. It's a level 9 synchro monster, requires any tuner and any 2 or more non-tuners, has 2900 attack, 2600 defense, and its effect is, must be synchro summoned. If this attacking card destroys a face-down defense position monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, draw 1 card. At this point, you may as well just use Omni Weapon due to Marshal's draw effect being too specific and the number of materials you need to summon him in the first place. Ally of Justice Decisive Armor. It's a massive level 10 synchro requiring any tuner plus 2 or more non-tuners, has 3300 attack and defense, and this effect. Once per turn, if your opponent controls a light monster, you can activate one of these effects. Target a set card your opponent controls, destroy that target. Send 1 card in your hand to the graveyard, destroy all spells and traps your opponent controls. Send your entire hand to the graveyard, look at your opponent's hand, and send all light monsters in their hand to the graveyard. Then, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the total attack of those monsters sent to the graveyard. Wow. Despite the lack of protection, these effects are pretty good. Set card destruction is always a good thing, especially when it's not limited to just monsters, spells, or traps. A Harpy's Feather Duster at the cost of 1 card is impressive, and while the last effect has a high cost and is gimmicky, it can score some massive damage. Even though the allies have to dance on a burning tightrope while suspended over the chasm of spikes and lava golems are surrounding them, the allies at least go out with a big bang. Before I move on, you're probably asking where the spell and traps are, right? Well, they don't have any. Yes, all the monsters I just talked about were all this archetype had to offer. So, how exactly do we modify machines that have terrible beatdown monsters, no swarming ability, no theme in their effects except for either something related to light or flip monsters, no cohesion in their art, or even basic spell and trap support? Well, due to the allies lacking in so many areas, they need the most basic of overhauls to be considered a playable engine. The overarching things they need are general spell and trap support. Seriously, this isn't Super Heavy Samurai where the monsters act like spell or traps. The allies just lay about and do their own thing. Among the new spell and traps, a field spell that removes DNA transplant as a play enabler would be great, along with it protecting the allies. But above all, they're about as lost as Disney's Star Wars trilogy. When engaging light monsters, do they gain advantages or disadvantages? Are they a beatdown deck or control based? What the hell do these things do? Although, I might have something. We keep the effects of Cycle Reader, change Unknown Crusher's condition to before damage calculation, and add a secondary effect to Core Destroyer where he summons a level 4 or lower Ally of Justice monster from the deck. Searcher would have a new effect where he fetches a level 4 or lower ally monster from your deck. Cyclone Creator would destroy spell or traps equal to the number of Ally of Justice monsters you control, but it's a mandatory effect that can end up biting you in the ass if you're not paying attention. Cosmic Gateway would be remade into the field spell I mentioned earlier, Thunder Armor would have the special summon condition, and Omni Weapon would be a level 4 2000 body. Other monsters like Enemy Catcher, Rudra, Thousand Arms, and Guardhog would be scrapped and replaced with something else. There's a lot you could do from there, but I think I'll leave it at that just to show how Konami could have done it. If they actually gave a shit. If you managed to make it this far into the video, then thank you for watching. I know I haven't done a Yu-Gi-Oh video in a very long time, but this one was kind of a special occasion. And no, this isn't meant to be the second coming of Rada of Rank 10 Yu-Gi-Oh's Legacy of the Worthless. And who knows, maybe I'll do some more archetypes later down the road. But with 200 plus of you guys around, I really need a visual overhaul for the channel. Like, that banner is not really cutting it anymore, and I like the technical things I did for my profile, but yeah, I think it's about time for a change, don't you? Well, I'm not sure if I'll do a speed painting of that, because, you know, like, not many people actually enjoy that anymore, but, you know, it's whatever. Still, I hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, reach for the stars.